All right, welcome back to the show. John Burton, Steve Lehman here on SportsLine. The Masters gets underway in earnest tomorrow from Augusta. Of course, they had the par 3 tournament today. Some great shots you showed on the news.
Don't win the par 3 contest.
Yeah, that is the kiss
good.
of death, right?
Yeah, and Jimmy Walker, I believe, got a 19. I couldn't get a 19 on 9 holes at putt-putt. That would be a dream for me. So that's a good day, but certainly means he's doomed now for the weekend.
No question about it. To talk more about it, we bring in our good friend, PGA teaching professional. You've seen him on Golf Channel. You've heard him on his golf show here locally. It's our buddy Virgil Herring. Virgil, what's up, my man?
Man, it's Masters Week. It's the greatest week of the year, really.
It really is. It's incredible because, I was at Augusta for the first time 3 years ago, and I remember just walking in there for the first time, and I literally had to stop and take a deep breath. I mean, every year it just looks more beautiful and beautiful. You talk about two things that go together: high-definition television and Augusta National, right?
that might be the perfect marriage right there for sure.
All right, Virgil, let's talk about Brandt Snedeker, a guy you know very well, a guy you worked with. From what you know going into the tournament, how's he looking, how's he feeling, and what are his chances this weekend?
Well, I think the big key for Brandt for sure is his ability to hit the ball well from yardages 175 yards to 225 yards. Why is that critical? Because the par 5s, the second shots generally come out of that range. And there are a couple of really difficult par 4s where there's swing holes where you either make par or you make double bogey, like hole 11, where if you usually miss it, you usually miss it in the water, and it usually costs you a double bogey. Those swing holes play a huge role in the winner. And if Brandt, and that's his only real weak spot in his game, he really, compared to the rest of the tour, he finishes a little bit below the average when it comes to that yardage. So if he has a good week from 175 to 225 and he putts and chips it like we know he can, there's every reason to think that the Green Jacket could be coming to Nashville, Tennessee.
We understand weather could be a factor, at least for the first couple of rounds. What do you know about the weather forecast, I guess, going into this weekend at Augusta? And could we be looking at weather issues all weekend or just for a couple of days?
I believe it's just Thursday, Friday, where cold and windy is Thursday, Friday, and windy still prevails on Saturday, but Sunday it's supposed to be, high 60s, low 70s, and calm. So it's really going to be, once again, this kind of plays into Brandt's favor here because the short game is going to be essential because there aren't going to be many people hitting a lot of greens in regulation if the wind's blowing 20 miles per hour. The greens, no matter what it looks like on TV, I'm here to tell you because I've played it twice, the greens are small. The targets are small. So when the wind blows that hard, it really taxes the players when it comes to hitting greens. And that's a golf course that you got to know where to miss it. So expect experienced players and players who are good in playing in the wind to do well there. And I think Brandt holds a really good chance if he catches some good luck with his longer clubs into the greens. It could be a week that we see a shorter hitter prevail more so than our standard long bombers because the wind will basically neutralize their length.
Virgil, that was just what I was going to ask. If you get those windy conditions on day one, I mean, this place is known as the Green Monster, and you saw it tiger-proofed at times, and then guys just kept hitting it longer and longer. If it's that windy, does that mean that it's an open field? Because I think a lot of times we go in thinking there's like a dozen to 15 guys that legitimately have the length and a chance to win.
Yeah, once again, it all remains to be seen. You know how it is, how tricky it is to pick the weather. But when you think about the champions that don't fit the mold, say Mike Weir or Zach Johnson, they both came on cold, windy golf tournaments. And you got to think that if that's the case, the better wedge player and the better putter is going to stand out. So when I think of that, Zach Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Brandt Snedeker, Phil Mickelson, and Jason Day. Jason Day, even though he's more noted for hitting it longer than everybody but Bubba, his short game numbers are every bit as good as Jordan Spieth and Brandt. So you got to think that Jason Day is the favorite going in any conditions, but it does suit the Spieth, Snedeker, Zach Johnson mold too. So it's going to be a very interesting and exciting Masters for sure.
Just on the surface going in, Jason Day is playing out of his mind right now. Adam Scott's run the last 2 tournaments that he's been in up until a week ago. You've got, obviously, Rory McIlroy in the mix. You got Jordan Spieth, who's only finished runner-up and winner in 2 appearances at the Master, and obviously Bubba, who's won 2 times at Augusta. Is the winner coming from those 5 guys, Virgil?
Man, you have to have heavy money on it. I mean, you'd like to think that if it doesn't come from those guys, it's going to be Ricky Fowler or Phil Mickelson, and that's the big 7, if you ask me. I can't think of anybody else that I'd be putting money on right now to win, because those 7 players have risen above both in high-end championships, Masters experience, and major championships. Those are the names that you're looking at. And when the wind blows, you're looking for the best ball strikers. So Adam Scott comes to mind, and Jason Day comes to mind. Now, Rory McIlroy, you would think comes to mind, but he has not won a golf tournament in high wind yet. So you have to be a little bit concerned about that, and the fact that he's not really putting that well. So Rory McIlroy, although he's my favorite player, I'm not really expecting him to play well because his form around the green hasn't been very good. But I really like Jason Day, and you can't really call him a dark horse, but he hasn't won in a while. Phil Mickelson looks like he's a really good pick to me.
We'll get you out of here on this, Virgil, and thanks again for being with us. Got about a minute left. Can you believe it's been 30 years since Jack won at Augusta at age 46?
This is a funny story. My first golf tournament that I ever watched, reluctantly, was the '86 Masters. I didn't even play golf at the time. My grandparents wanted to watch it. And I'm sitting there bored to my mind watching this thing called golf as history is unraveling in front of my face, and I couldn't have cared less. I think it's kind of funny now that I'm a teaching professional and I've worked with people on TV, and it's kind of funny that was my first golf ever exposure, was the '86 Masters. But when I look back on it now, I remember it vividly with different memories now, of course. But it's been 30 years, and that just tells me how long I've been in the business, because it wasn't but 2 weeks later I started playing golf.
10 seconds. Who wins?
Jason Day in a playoff over Bubba Watson and Phil Mickelson.
Wow.
Wow. Well, we look forward to that. We look forward to your analysis on Sunday after the Masters on the Electric Power Company Sunday Sports Central. Virgil Herring, always a pleasure. Thanks so much, man. Have a great night.
Thanks, Virgil.
Yeah, man.
He's the best, isn't he?
He is. We look forward to those ratings on Sunday if that comes true, too. If you get a playoff with those 3 guys, that would be must-see television at Augusta.
Absolutely. Great talking with you as always,
Thanks, man.
We need to do this more often.
Absolutely.
That's the great Steve Lehman, the best
Sunday night?
sportscaster in Nashville. I'm merely John Burton. We'll take our final break. Come back after this.